Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Arizona Coyotes franchise mode here in NHL 22. So in last episode, we simulated the rest of the season. We did make a bit of a trade to help out our offense on our back end on the defensive core, and I think it helped out a decent amount. Like, it didn't really hugely impact our offense, but Oleg Jass, who we brought in from the Dallas Stars, was a plus 30 in 41 games. And then in general, our top six and stuff like that was simulated really good, especially our first line. Like, Agostino had 117 points this year, which finished second best in the league, and he was a plus 60 as a forward, which is actually insane. Connor Geekie was also up there in points with 88 points for our team. He was the worst of our top line players, but still really good. And Matvey Michkov had 105 points in 74 games before his injury, and he was a plus 54. So I'm glad at least he's back, though, in the lineup. And yet our team in general looks really good, as you can see. Very good top nine and a solid fourth line. There's our defensive core, a little bit weaker than years past, I'd say, a little bit. But at least we still have Fairchild here, who we brought in last year. Like, we actually re-signed him and whatnot. And our goalie-wise, Korea had a really good season this year, so hoping for big things from him. He had 48 wins this season. And yeah, he had a 913 save percentage and a 259 goals against average. So there's a chance that he could win the Vezina this season, which would be pretty awesome considering we just signed him on a 4-year deal at only 1.9. And then, yeah, Galiev is our backup still. And then there's our depth options in case we need to make any drastic changes to our lineup going into this playoffs. But in general, I really hope that our team can manage to win this first round, because we had such a good first regular season, 61 wins, that I feel like we're going to be a first round exit. And we're taking on a team in the Canucks who basically finished 500, somehow got into the playoffs with the worst offense almost in the Western Conference. They were a really good penalty kill team and solid defensive team, but that's the only reason they actually made it into the playoffs, I'm guessing. But still, it's a team that's kind of like a cheese team that shouldn't be in the playoffs, but they actually do have a good looking roster. So they kind of under-simulated, I feel like, in a sense, but I really hope that we don't get knocked out in the first round. But you can see what I mean, though. They have a very good top nine for the most part. Helmerson's a little bit weak, but he's a younger guy. And a lot of these guys on their roster actually also do have potential because of the fact that the Canucks have been bad for like the last few years. So a lot of these guys are younger players that are all really decent. Like, their entire forward core looks like, for the most part, except for Grabowski and I guess McCann, is 27 and younger, which is actually insane. And then their defensive core is also pretty damn good as well. And it is also pretty young for the most part, except for guys like Girardi and Adamski. And then goalie-wise, they have Rupp and Bjorklund, so their goaltending is pretty solid as well. And as you can see, they do have an injury to Winehandle at the moment. I don't know if he'd be playing on their defensive core or what, but they are running a defenseman as a fourth-line player, which is interesting because he's a two-way defenseman. Okay, so let's see what this team could do. We got home ice advantage, obviously, throughout the entire playoffs since we won the President's Trophy. But let's see if that President's Trophy curse does not exist, and hopefully we can get ourselves past this cheese team in the Canucks and get ourselves to that second round. So here we go, game one on home ice in Arizona. Let's see what we could do here. See if we could go for another Stanley Cup. Our team has been a dynasty so far. Let's see if they could add more to that. First period. 1-0 us. Let's go. Good start. McIntyre scores. That's actually pretty decent to have our third line start scoring, because if we could get all our lines going, then we're definitely going to be a good team again in the playoffs. Because sometimes if you have those specific lines like the third or fourth line that don't really show up, then you get to be a little bit in trouble. But if your third line shows up, that's a good thing. Shots are 13-8 in favor of the Canucks, so they're actually outplaying us, which is kind of surprising. But we're up 1-0. Second period. 2-1 Canucks. That's not good. Hartnell and Helmerson score on Guillermo, and it's now a 2-1 game. Shots are 22-20 in favor of us, so we got a lot more chances in that period, but they scored 2 goals. Can we find a way to tie this game up in the third period? Who do I want to call upon? Probably the big boys like Agostino and Michkov and Geekie, since they had a really good season. Let's see what happens. Or maybe somebody like Shelley could come through with a goal. Penalty kill early in the third period. Big penalty kill there. Come on, boys. Come on. Don't want to lose to a cheese team. Am I going to get swept in this episode, though? I feel like there's something that's going to happen, because this game is just built that way. Come on, guys. Who wants to tie it up, please? Yes, let's go. It's Oleg Jass, the guy we traded for, with a huge goal with 1:14 left. Ties the game up at 2. The shots are 32 apiece as well. 32-32. Who is going to score the game-winning goal? That was a big goal from Jas. Glad I brought him in because I know for a fact that Hordichuk wouldn't have done that because Hordichuk has no playoff goals in his career. So I know that he wouldn't have been able to do that type of thing. So Jas, thank you for that goal. Now, can we find the winner in OT? Kagrodov, maybe? I don't know who I want to call upon. Can we win this game in overtime? Penalty kill early in OT. Nicely done again. Some crucial penalty kills in this game. 5-on-3 power play, and we score. Let's go, and it's Connor Geekie. The top line, top power play unit comes through with a big goal. And we managed to somehow beat the Canucks after looking like we were going to lose. 3-2 win. Shots were 38-36 in that game, so a pretty close game for a team that just barely made it into the playoffs against us. But McIntyre from Yoshimura and Shelley, Jas from Ustorf and Spalling. So I guess the fourth line was out there when Jas scored that late goal, which is kind of crazy. And then Geekie from Michkov. So no points for Agostino in the first game, which is kind of a surprise. But after the second period, Guillermo kind of locked it down. He had a really good game, gets first star of the game. McIntyre to second star, and Geekie to third. Pretty solid first game. Just need to get Agostino on the score sheet as Steven Fairchild was injured with a concussion in that first game. He is out till May the 21st, so we're without one of our best defensemen for the remainder of the playoffs almost, unless we get eliminated. Or actually, if we get eliminated, or unless we somehow get to the Cup Finals again. So Festerling is back in the lineup, but holy, that's a huge loss. I don't want a -3 there. Yeah, I guess we'll have to go with something like that. Oh, man. That's a huge loss to our defensive core. Huge loss, because that guy blocks a lot of shots. That guy plays good defensively. If you remember last year when we won the Stanley Cup, he blocked shots in the final, few seconds. Yeah, our defensive core does not look as strong anymore with the loss of Fairchild. Kind of scared about that. Hopefully the team can still simulate good without him, because last year in the playoffs, Festerling only played 2 playoff games. He was a -8 in one of those games. So I am kind of a bit scared about doing this, but I guess it has to happen. Oh well. Hopefully we could get some wins for Fairchild, and hopefully he'll get another chance to play in these playoffs. Because yeah, May the 21st is a very long time. That's probably almost Stanley Cup Finals category. So yeah, hopefully we can still manage to get some wins in Vancouver and on home ice, obviously. So that's a pretty solid first game, so I don't think I'm going to make any changes since we just had the injury problem anyways. Let's get into game number 2 and see if we could take a 2-0 series lead on the Canucks after losing Fairchild to injury, which hopefully we can do that. First period of game 2, 1-0 Canucks, not great. Cogliano scores on the power play for them. That's probably where we're going to miss guys like Fairchild because of the penalty killing and whatnot, but shots are 11-9 in favor of us, so we had more chances, but Korea let in 1 goal on 9 shots. Can we find a way to tie this game up in the second period, or even take the lead for that matter? Second period, 2-2. I will definitely take that. Let's go. Kagrodov tied the game up. Grabowski gave them the lead again, but then a minute later, almost, Michkov scores, and we have a 2-2 game. Shots are 21-19 in favor of the Canucks, but it's an even game. A very even series so far, I'd say, for the most part. Let's see who could score in this third period. See if Agostino could come through with the goal, because he hasn't done that yet. Or Shelley, or one of those veteran type of players. And Kagrodov again. The Russians are scoring, or the Ukrainians or Belarusians, whatever they are. Spalling scores and makes it 4-2. Let's go. That's a good start to the third period. The boys are still playing good. Sawatsky makes it 4-3. That's a little bit scary. Come on, give me Guillermo. Just lock it down. Penalty kill late in the game. We killed off. Nicely done, guys. Power play late, and they score a short-handed goal in the final 48 seconds. Are you kidding me? Our power play is so good, yet it gives up a short-handed goal in the final minute. Oh no, I feel like we're going to lose this game now because we let in 2 unanswered. We had the game in the bag, but then Sawatsky had other plans, and he gets 2 goals. It's a 4-4 game. Shots are 33-31. We're going to another overtime situation here in game 2. Who wants to come through with a big goal? Let's call on Agostino, because I have not seen him score yet. He might have some assists, but still. Or maybe we'll call upon Kagrodov or Michkov again. Let's see what happens in OT. Come on, boys. Don't let this get to you. Don't let this get to you. Just clear your mind and get yourself a game-winning goal, please. 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 Shots are still very close in this game as well. So it's a very even series. Are we going to double OT? No, we're not. And look who it is again. What the heck? Geeky scores another OT winner in Game 2. So Geeky's got 2 overtime winners in the first 2 games of the series. So that's pretty damn impressive. 2 OT winners in 2 games. And we win 5-4 after a late scare because of Sawatsky. Final shots were 40-37 at the end of that game. This is a very close series. Like, it could have went either way in these first 2 games. So Kagarodov from Shishkinov, Mishkov from Geeky and Agostino, Kagarodov from Shishkinov and Penner, Spalling from Shelley and Utstorf, and then Geeky from Mishkov and Agostino. There you go. So Agostino showed up with assists, but not goals. He gets 2 points. Mishkov, Shishkinov, Geeky, and Kagarodov all 2 points as well. And then a couple players with 1 point as well. Any badly minus players in that game, Burkov was a -2, but that's okay, I guess. And goalie-wise, yeah, that was not the greatest game from Guillermo after his first game, but I'll still take it. Geeky gets first star, 1 goal, 1 assist, 5 hits, and Kagarodov the second star, 2 goals. Sawatsky obviously gets third star because he tried to get that team the win, but unfortunately for his Canucks, they end up losing to us again. So back-to-back OT wins, and now the series shifts to Vancouver. This is going to be a very interesting series. I don't know if we're going to be able to win in Vancouver or what. That loss of Fairchild definitely hurt us a little bit defensively that game, I think. Now, Festerling was a +1. That's not terrible. Maybe it didn't hurt us as much as I thought. Trying to see if I should make any other changes defensively. Because technically, McGrath is listed as a top 4. I'll leave it the way it is. And yeah, Guillermo will start again, even though he just had a rough game. If he has another rough game, though, then we could try and turn to Galiev instead. And yeah, the rest of the lineup I'm going to just keep the same. We've not been the best defensive team in these first 2 games, but at least our offense could kind of match that type of intensity, right? So let's get into game number 3, as we are now in Vancouver. See if we could take a commanding 3-0 series lead on the Canucks. We've been in 2 OT games so far. Is this game going to go to overtime as well? Hopefully not, because another overtime would be another nail-biter. First period of game 3, and it's 2-0 Canucks. Are you kidding me? Ferentz and McCann score on Korea, so Korea's kind of having a rough time, especially these last 2 games since Fairchild's been injured. So there's a chance that I might turn to Galiev next game just to give Korea a little bit of a breather. Shots are 14-9 in favor of us. We're down 2 goals. Can we find a way to get back in this game in a second? Like, at least get 1 goal going into the third, because that way at least we're closer than these 2 goals. Second period, 3-1 Canucks. So they still have their 2-goal lead, but at least we get a goal to get us back in this game. Shots are 27-17 in favor of us, yet we only have 1 goal. So we're outplaying them, but they somehow have 3 goals and 17 shots. So Agostino gets a goal on the power play, so it's good to see him get on the board with a goal finally. Can we find a way to get this game tied up in the third period? We need 2 goals, so we need to strike early and strike as fast as we can. Let's see what happens. Penalty kill. Nicely done. Can we get another goal to pull us within 1 power play? Yes, we can. Penner scores on the power play. Nice. 2 power play goals for our team. Can we find another here in this third period? Yes, we can. Geeky makes it 3-3. Let's go. Let's go. This team is doing pretty damn well. I know it's against a cheese team, but still. We're going to an overtime situation. No, we're not. McIntyre says hell no. No more overtimes. We win 4-3 with 27 seconds left in the game. Big goal from the third line. And we managed to rally back from down 3-0 to win by a score of 4-3. What a win. That was a really good third period. Might be one of our best third periods I've seen this team have, I think. Shots were 40-26 at the end of that game as well, so we definitely outplayed them and deserved that win. We just managed to come through with some clutch goals in that third period, and we managed to take a 3-0 series lead. So Agostino from Kagarodov and Geeky, then Penner from Shishkinov, Geeky from Michkov, and McIntyre from Shelley. Nice. 2 assists from Geeky, or 2 points from Geeky, and then everybody else had 1 point. Any badly minus players? No. And then goalie-wise, yeah, Korea wasn't great again. I might give Korea the night off since we have a 3-0 series lead. Might as well give him a break. And then maybe he could come and close out the series if Galiev can't close out the series. So McCann gets first star, Ferentz the second star, and Geeky the third. Yeah, I think I'm going to give Galiev the game, even though Korea just won. He might need a break. And Jose Festerling has been injured with an MCL sprain and is out till July. Wow. So now I have to call up a defenseman from the minors. Wow. What is this injury bug? I have to just throw in a random forward for now. That is ridiculous. Let's just put in Filppula for a second. He actually could work on our... He actually works on our defensive core. I mean, I'm tempted to play him as a defenseman because I don't know if Ariel Ortmeyer wants to come back up. But Leslie, I don't know how good he is. Let's go to roster moves. See if we should call up a defenseman or not. Like, do I risk running a forward as a defenseman? Because Ariel Ortmeyer has been in the NHL before. For Leslie, I don't know how good he is. Because now we don't technically have another we have to play another defenseman until, until Fairchild returns. And Fairchild doesn't return until, when is it? Till May. So whoever's playing in this spot is going to be in the lineup all the way until May. Okay, I think we're going to go with Ariel. He's old, but he's been in the NHL before, so he has that experience factor. We'll see if he could help us out, and then we'll put in, I guess, this Fletcher guy just signed for the AHL club. But this is a massive blow to our defensive core. Losing 2 defensemen, one till July and one until May. Ortmeyer actually fits our defensive core really well, apparently on that second appearance, so that's what we'll do. But yeah, also Ortmeyer does have X factors and he does have some good offensive stats, so maybe that is a blessing in disguise. But still, oh, we only have 2 depth forwards now. Hopefully we don't suffer any more injuries, because or else this team is gonna have some problems, I would assume. Yeah, let me just see special teams. I'm going to take Burkhoff also off the power play and put in Ariel Ortmeyer in that spot, because Ortmeyer's an offensive defenseman. I want him to drive some offense a little bit. See if he helps out our team a bit. Our AHL team is in the playoffs as well. Oh, but those are 2 big losses. I mean, the loss of, what's his name, Festerling till July is not huge, because he was more of just a replacement, but now we don't have technically a depth defenseman, and we're missing Fairchild for another month, so we got to keep winning games with an AHL defenseman pretty much at this point. So let's get into game number 4 and see if we could pull off the sweep at least, and then we could have at least our team could have some breaks. Actually, we're going to put in Galiev in that as well. But then we'll see if our team could recuperate some health a little bit over the span if we could sweep the Canucks. So let's put Galiev there, and yeah, that's good. Because I think Korea does need a day off, and then if Galiev can't get the win here, hopefully Korea could come in the lineup and close out the series in the next game. Let's see what happens here. Game 4 with Ariel Ortmeyer in defense, because that guy deserves an opportunity with his X factors. Let's see what happens here. First period, 1-1, I'll take it. Kagorodov scores, Cogliano scores for them on the power play, so our penalty kill is going to definitely be affected by this. Our penalty kill's been pretty bad actually in this first round, so that might be something we look to address, at least going into next round if we get there. Shots are 10-8 in favor of us. It's a 1-1 game. Second period, oh my goodness. Galiev absolutely got wrecked, and Korea came in and also got wrecked. We are going to get reverse swept, aren't we? We are going to get reverse swept. I feel like that after that period. 7-2 for the Canucks. Where did this offense come from them? 6 goals in a period. Spalling scores for us. But, yeah, 7 goals on 21 shots. That is absolutely terrible. I'm just going to let this third period sim out, but I'm feeling like we're going to get reverse swept. If we're going to go to overtimes in the first 2 games, and then every single game is going to be a 1-goal game, and now we're going to get completely crapped on, I do not have faith in this team to close out the series. Even if we've won multiple Stanley Cups, I feel kind of iffy about that. Losing 8-2. Yikes. Wow, maybe it was a bad call to put in Galiev, but goddamn. Who was badly minus in that game? The entire top line was -3. Wow. And both goalies got crapped on. Galiev had 4 goals on 16 shots. And Korea was technically worse. Wow. That is uncharacteristic of those two guys. It was just an absolutely terrible second period. I've never seen that many goals scored against on the second period. Okay, well, that was a fast game. We're definitely going to make some adjustments because we've only had one, like, look at these games were all really close, and then all of a sudden they just completely blow us out. So we got to find a way to close out this series here and not allow 8 goals in a game again, because that was absolutely tragic. What do we want to do? What do we want to do to try and get this team to go a little bit? There's nothing really I could do with the forward core almost. Yeah, there's nothing I could do really with the forward core. It's just more the defensive core. Ortmeyer was only a -1 in that game, which is good. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Move Ortmeyer down to the top 6 pairing. And goalie-wise, who do we run now? Because both of them have terrible stats now. I guess we'll go with Guillermo again. And then maybe I'll make a change actually and put Philpil in instead of somebody else on that bottom 6. Actually, there's not really any badly minus players except for that top line that just got completely drenched in the last game. I don't want to separate anybody on this top line. Yeah, I think I'm just going to leave it the same. So, yeah, not really much of an adjustment, but hopefully this team doesn't like have another terrible game, or else I feel like we're getting reverse swept at this point, because all those games were close, and in that one game, absolutely destroyed. So let's see what happens here in game 5. See if we could close it out on home ice, and hopefully we do not allow 8 goals in a game. First period, 2-0 us. Let's go. That's exactly what you'd want to do for a response to a bad game. Score 2 goals early, both of them from Michkov as well. So the line that was -3 last game is now a +2 in the first period, so that's good. Shots 14-10 in favor of the Canucks, but we're up by 2. Can we keep on to this lead in the second period? Second period, 3-1. Let's go. Shore made it a 2-1 game, so they almost got back in it. But a big goal from Kagorodov has us restored with that 2-goal advantage. Shots are 23 apiece as well. Let's see if we can lock down this game and the series in the third period. Come on, boys. Lock it down. Just lock it down. Tolleson makes it 3-2. That's not good. Come on, boys. Get some insurance, please. There you go, Agostino. Haven't seen you score in a while again. Penalty kill, nicely done too. Final few minutes. And exhale. Looks like we are going back to the second round. Maybe not. Helmerson makes it 4-3. And yes, we are going back to the second round. After having a terrible game. Last game, we managed to come out with another 1-goal victory. So we managed to just scrape by the Canucks, because technically, I think we were outscored in that series, because every game that we won, we only won by 1 goal. And in the one game that they won by 6 goals. So, they gave us a little bit more trouble than I expected. 33-30 the shots were, and we win 4-3. Let's take a look at those goals. So, Michkov from Agostino and Geeky. Michkov from Agostino. Kagorodov from Penner. And Agostino from Michkov. So, the 2 of those guys took over, which is good. Both of them had 3-point nights. First star for Michkov, second star for Agostino, and Tolleson the third. Nice. Any badly minus players in that game? A couple -1s, and that was mostly the third line, actually the entire third line. And yeah, that's all a game from Korea by comparison for sure to the last game when he came in and replaced Galiev. Maybe it was a bad decision to try and put Galiev in net. I don't know. It just screwed with the morale of this team. Okay, so let's take a look at our player stats throughout the first round matchup. And then we will see who we're playing in the second round, which I'm curious about. Glad we were managed to get to the second round after losing Fairchild. So Geeky, 6 points in 5 games, pretty good, but -2 because of that one game he had. Penner, 4 points in 5 games is really good. Spalling, 3 points, 5 games, pretty good. And Damo, only 1 point, but still pretty good point to totals throughout our centers. Left wing wise, Agostino, 6 points in 5 games is pretty damn good. -1 though. but doing what he normally does. Shishkinov was almost point per game, 4 assists in 5 games. He doesn't usually score a lot, so it kind of makes sense. McIntyre, 2 goals, pretty solid. One of them was a game-winning goal, so definitely will take that. Right wing wise, Michkov, 7 points in 5 games. Really good first round for Michkov. Hopefully he continues that in the second round. Kagerodov, 5 points, 4 goals in 5 games is really good. Shelley had no goals in the first round, so that's a bit of a shock because he's more of a goal scorer, but he had 3 assists still, so that's pretty solid. Utsdorf, 2 points, and Yoshimura, only 1 point in 5 games. That is kind of surprising. With how his playoffs were last year, you'd think he'd be doing better. Hopefully he wakes up in the second round. Defensively, Jas 1 point and Sasaki 1 point, but every other of our defensemen had no points in that first round matchup. Then again, we played 3 of these guys in different games. Ortmeyer replaced Festerling replaced Fairchild, and Ortmeyer is a -2 in 2 games. Yeah, our defensive core are a little bit iffy in the point totals, but it is what it is. And then goalie-wise, Korea was not great, but he won games, and Galiev was terrible in that short span. So there is that. Wow. So our offense was good. Our defense definitely needs to improve in the second round, but that's kind of hard when you have those injuries to guys like Fairchild, who are used to shutting down the opponent for us. So the question is now, who are we playing in round 2? After a very solid first round in terms of offense, but a very bad defensive first round, I think. Did we get outscored out of curiosity first? Because I feel like we got outscored in that first round, probably, based on goal differential. Let's see, Western Conference, let's sort by wins. Actually, wait, not sort by wins, sort by games played. So, there we go. Yeah, they scored 20 goals on us. We scored 18 on them, but we managed to win 4 games. They managed to win 1. So, kind of weird on that front. Our power play was good on that first round as well. Our penalty kill was good in the first round. And, yeah, we were 3-0 on home ice, but 1-1 on the road. Interesting. Okay, so the question is, to end this episode, who are we playing in round number 2? Let's see. It is going to not be yet determined. That was the AHL. Thought that was going to be the NHL. It's going to be the St. Louis Blues, which is another team I don't think I've played before in the playoffs. So that should be interesting. Or maybe I did play them like years ago. 49-24-9, so the better team for sure. 9-1 in their last 10 games going into the playoffs as well, which is kind of scary. Let's take a look at the roster and see how they've been doing in the playoffs. And then that'll be it for this episode. So their top line, Drew Lawrence, former Arizona Coyote, right? Yep, former Arizona Coyote. He was part of the Michkov trade, I think, if not mistaken. He had an insane season in St. Louis with 87 points out of nowhere. So good on him to score 87 points. Really solid player. I wish I would have been able to keep him long term. But for him to score 87 points on a contract under $4 million, props to the St. Louis Blues for picking him up. I mean, he is playing with Brad Lambert, though, and Isaac Pody, so it kind of makes sense. That is a really nasty top line. And then Darling is a second-line player, and this guy scored how many goals? 61 goals in the regular season. Wow. Yeah, this is going to be a really tough matchup. Like, this top 6 has 3 90s. 91 pluses. Duffy's also really good. And then they have former player Emil Schulz on the second line as well. Wow. So their left wing side is a little bit weak, but you have, like, these 4 guys. That's actually insane. Third line, Arkhipov, Langfeld, and Ramsey. And a fourth line of Tanabe, Hoglander, and O'Mara. Really good center depth as well for having that much 90s in your lineup. So yeah, I'm really scared of that forward core. Defensively, they have Collins, who I believe is a good offensive defenseman. Yeah, solid offensive defenseman. So yeah, they actually have a really good defensive core as well for the most part, at least on this top 4, I'd say. With Brant Clark up there, Vishnevsky, Habby Bone's pretty solid. Monitor and Iorio aren't the best, but they're not the worst either. And then goalie-wise, they actually have some solid goalies too, with Sommers and Dostal. So this is a pretty damn good St. Louis Blues team. And they actually have 3 injuries at the moment. Hardikainen is out, who's one of their bottom 6 forwards. Bolduc is out, who would probably be more as a second liner. Where would they put Bolduc? Third line, I guess? And then Hoglander would be scratched? I don't really know. Damn. And then Bartlett would be an 81 on their defensive core, and that would make that top 4 actually a legit top 4. and make that top 6 pairing legit too. So hopefully those guys are out long term, but this team is really well built. I am kind of surprised that the AI could actually use something like that, but how long are those guys out for? And then that'll be it for this episode, I think, unless actually I want to quickly take a look at how they've done in the first round. So we were swamped by 2 injuries, they were swamped by 3 injuries, so both teams are a little bit broken, but all 3 of their guys are out till May or June. So Bartlett will return, which means their defensive core is going to get better, but Bolduc is out till June, so we won't have to see him. And same with Hardikainen. Wow. Don't know who they faced in the first round, but it must have been a goon squad. Final thing, let's take a look at how they did in their first round matchup, how they scored goals and all that stuff, and then that'll be it for this episode. Like, what's their goals for in that first round out of curiosity and stuff. Win-wise, let's see what we got. St. Louis, they went to 7 games. They scored 3.29 goals per game, which is a little bit less than us. They allow better goals against than us, which is not a surprise. Power play-wise, their power play was so bad. 1 for 21 on the power play, 4.8%. So hopefully that continues in that second round. And their penalty kill, 80%, so not the greatest either. They had 1 shorthanded goal, 2-1 on home ice, and 2-2 on the road. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Arizona Coyotes franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll take it to round 2 against the St. Louis Blues as we look to make it back to the conference finals against either the Sharks or the Flames. So I'm going to link them below, and I'll see you guys next time.